William Samoei Ruto, there's a narrative that he has already picked a presidential candidate who will vie against him. And whom do you think is this presidential candidate that William Samoei Ruto has picked? Analysts say that the person Ruto has picked, and I'm here to tell you whom the person is, that is a person he very well knows. He will be able to beat very early in the morning and garner the numbers. Put this in mind. We have close to 14 million on average persons who never voted in 2022 because they were not yet eligible to vote. But as we speak, they are ready and they are eligible to vote. Should they decide to register and pick up the IDs and vote, then that will be what we call a swing vote. Now, let me not keep you waiting. We have the United Opposition Front comprising of Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Fred Matiang'i, George Natembeya, Martha Karua, and Justin Muturi. Among that group, the most vocal persons within the nation that have the armor of vying for presidency is Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigathi Gachagua. That is the bone of contention. Now, you'll get some people saying that, we don't prefer Rigathi Gachagua because, Rigathi Gachagua was in this regime. And now, Ruto has decided to pick Kalonzo Musyoka. And how has he picked him? Now, if you do understand politics, that is how it's happening. So, he sees Kalonzo as the vulnerable one, So by the time he will be responding to Kalonzo, people will start sympathizing with Kalonzo and they will feel like Kalonzo is being attacked by the state. So he wants to drive the sympathy to Kalonzo Musyoka. So by the time before you realize it, there is a group that is forming around Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Then we are going to have a group that will be forming around Rigathi Gachagua. That has already been done. Now, he wants to use this picture to divide the united opposition. Well, will the united opposition remain intact with these kind of tactics that Ruto is trying to deploy? Remember earlier on, William Samoei Ruto did send emissaries to try and sweet-talk Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to jump camp from the opposition to the government. Of course, with the promised goodies. But that goodie wasn't enticing at all because it was like, you come work with the government. Then, after Ruto's 2 terms, you are the one whom we are going to support. In politics, those promises are never a thumbprint. So you cannot believe in them. Now, Kalonzo did say, there is no way he could go and work with an oppressor, someone who has committed grave atrocities to the people of Kenya, state-sanctioned abductions, the police brutality that you are seeing happening, and also extrajudicial killings. So to them, this was a person they cannot relate to. So William Samoei Ruto seeing this, he decided now, I want to create a weak link in the opposition by dividing you. Well, Rigathi Gachagua did say that no matter what they try, the united opposition is still intact. So what is this that Ruto fears in politics? Ruto cannot face Fred Matiang'i or even try to bring the Riviera issue. For us, or for me, I can question Fred Matiang'i because he was the Minister for Interior then about issues Riviera killings. But William Samoei Ruto has no moral authority. To that will be credit to Fred Matiang'i, and he will create a monster that he will be unable to fight, just like he created a monster in Rigathi Gachagua unknowingly. The person who advised him to impeach Rigathi Gachagua made him a big mess. And that is why, allegedly, the Northeastern Front, there are people being ferried from the Somalians of Somali, not Somalians of Kenya, to be registered as voters so that allegedly they use that as votes in support of William Samoei Ruto, because William Ruto knows already the landscape, the political landscape nationwide is sliding. Now, there is this one thing that Luo leaders are doing. They are trying to paint a picture that the Luo community has already decided to support William Samoei Ruto, which is not true. I speak to people individually, and they do say, there is no way I'm gonna vote for William Samoei Ruto. So they're trying to drive that narrative. Should there be anything, by anything I mean election rigging, they would want to paint a picture that Nyanza was supporting Ruto, Rift Valley was supporting Ruto, parts of Central was supporting Ruto, and then parts of the central votes were divided because they had several candidates vying for presidency. The divide and rule tactic. That is what they want to play. So, why is Ruto picking Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka? He knows by picking him early enough might trigger something in the opposition, because the person who is attacked much, who is spoken about much, is seen as the de facto leader of the opposition politically. And Rigathi Gachagua already acknowledged that the ODM party has been succeeding courtesy of Wiper and through extension Kalonzo Musyoka. So it's like already Gachagua is endorsing Kalonzo, and also William Samoei Ruto is voting like supporting that strategically. What games are both the opposition and the government playing? It's a game of chess. Right now, we are on a checkmate. The only prayer is that Rigathi Gachagua is not picked as the flag bearer or Fred Matiang'i as the flag bearer. But again, there's confusion here. Fred Matiang'i and Jubilee Party, led by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Back then, we saw Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in State House doing tours with William Samoei Ruto. So, what is it that we don't know? For ODM, we can't say much for them because with them, they have already decided that whoever is in government, that's the person they'll work with. Whether it's Ruto, whether it's Gachagua, whether it's... They said anybody who will be in the government, they'll be in that government. For them, they've decided they'll work with the government. They are tired with the opposition. So, these politics are becoming murkier. It's a checkmate, like I put it. So, there are people to watch over here. Rigathi Gachagua and Fred Matiang'i. These are the deciding factors that Ruto has realized. Touching them is as good as going to Sugoi very early in the morning. It is politics, not emotions. So, if you want to bring sycophancy and get into the comment section and tell me, Ahmed, on this you are wrong. Through emotions, you'll get it wrong. Beat me in quotes with facts. Or I could say in proper English, instead of going to literature, face me with logic and facts. Because what I'm saying, that is what is happening behind the scenes, behind the boardrooms, where how politics of the day are being choreographed. Because as you myopically make conclusions on the current state of affairs in politics, someone is already doing 5 years plan in politics. And that is Ruto for you. And Kenyans, if you are not careful, Ruto, as much as we sing one term, if we are not careful, Ruto will be getting back into power in 2027. This will depend with whom the opposition will choose as the flag bearer. Voter apathy will come. And if voter apathy steps in with the new voters, just know it's done and dusted. Ruto is going back. Because the traditional voting pattern is not going to be influenced. Trust me. It is not going to be influenced. It will shift a little bit, but not that much. The only thing that can bring a deciding voter are these Gen Zs, the approximately 14 million votes that are coming on board. What's your take? Give me your thought in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the unscripted talks here in Dab Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dab Radio ndio mpango mzima.